Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another video for America Month. Today we take a look at a tried and true staple of the channel that I used to review a long time ago, either one chapter at a time or multiple chapters at a time, and thankfully enough I'm now part of the project. So much as, this ain't so much a review anymore, well it is still a review, but so much more as a catch-up for those of you who are actually reading it. But that won't be till a little bit, but let's just go ahead and kind of discuss that later half of this video. But first off, Gate Wasteland, a unique Fallout Gate story. Reason being it's unique is because it literally is the gate opening up in our world and us exploring the Fallout universe. And unlike another one, this one actually takes pride in the lore and actually does take itself seriously. To a degree, of course, it still has that macabre feeling and that sort of underlining Fallout theme, but at the same time, it also explores not only, of course, Vegas, or at least New Vegas, the Mojave Wasteland, but also the DC Waste now. I'll get to that in a bit. So, ladies and gentlemen, how does the story fare so far? Well, last time we left off, the U.S. military had shown itself up, and the NCR has been kind of wary about it. There were hearings that kind of got attacked, and well, let's just say the author's going back and fixing some things that don't make a lot of sense, and that kind of is how it is. So the question is, what happened so far? Well, the U.S. military actually has Americana, or honestly, I'd say, don't get me wrong, Little Americana is good too. Americana is also good, but in my opinion, Columbia is also a better name for the town that's sprung up around the military base of Nipton. But again, that's just my personal opinion. Now, the big thing about it is that a ghoul actually came up who was a senator and would have been a part of the Enclave, but didn't exactly fit their criteria for being a membership of the Enclave, and is now the elected representative of Americana. The NCR, of course, is still being a little wary of some things, but it's the NCR, of course they're being wary. Mr. House, of course, is extremely curious and invested in finding out more about the U.S. military and sort of the other world, and learn a little more about it. The other thing, though, ladies and gentlemen, is that, well, a squad of U.S. soldiers gets kind of transported to Big Mountain.
You will never survive my deadly robo-scorpions, technological terrors, and my bigger, more atomic versions of these things.
This can only end so badly, and it actually is a fun adventure. They do, of course, come back, and after a debrief and full psychological evaluation, of course, all U.S. military operations going forward is now much more cautious about damn near anything. Especially since they discovered the Sierra Madre radio signal.
2 kids gone die tonight!
What I have a feeling this is going to go full on Resident Evil.
A little fucking respect!
Not that Resident Evil, for the love of fucking God. No. The big thing is that this story is actually slowly evolving into something that the other Gate Old World Blues, you know, that other Gate Fallout story, wishes it was. And that's kind of the thing about this. This Gate story is actually a lot more respecting of the lore, of the idea, unlike the other one, which was just lazy, and just, by God, people. My God. So, yeah. But, again, this is where a lot of fun comes into play, because another portal, not a gate, mind you, a portal opens up in the DC area. In the actual, well, I'm not going to spoil where exactly, but I will say it is pretty close to the GNR building. And the U.S. military, of course, going in and doing what the U.S. military does best. Bringing freedom and democracy, and of course clearing out areas and winning the hearts and minds of the locals. Of course, the Brotherhood of Steel, which is after the events of Fallout 3, and of course the Lone Wanderer, sadly, is dead, much like Courier 6, who is dead along with Benny in the Mojave area. Lone Wanderer is dead after doing a lot of good. The Enclave, of course, is still around, led by Colonel Autumn, and again, there's a lot of cool stuff being set up there, especially the fact there is a Cold War going on in the DC area, and I like that, honestly. That is something I think would happen, because again, it kind of would make sense. I mean, it's literally a Cold War between the Enclave and the Brotherhood. And escalation is going to happen, but whether or not the U.S. military is choosing a side or stays neutral is completely up to the author and sort of how things go forward. The other thing, ladies and gentlemen, is that while that's happening in the D.C. area, back in the Mojave, a descendant of Tandy is sent to keep an eye on the U.S. military of Nipton, and of course Little Americana. And we have, of course, a red versus blue reference.
What are they doing? What? I said, what are they doing now? God damn, I'm getting so sick of answering that question.
Anyway. But yeah, no, so aside from that, the other thing is that, and this is what I gotta love, the other thing is that Native Americans finally get representation in a fanfiction. The Native American Pathfinders of the U.S. military Pathfinders are actually brought in to scout out the region and find interesting locations. There are 3 Pathfinder groups, one heading towards the Red Rock Canyon area, the other one heading towards the Novak section, and the third one heading towards Boulder City, or at least heading towards Big Mountain. Kind of, again, scouting out the area and sort of getting a feel for what's going on. Hote, of course, is the leader of Pathfinder 1, which goes towards Red Rock Canyon. However, not wanting to go to the Deathclaw-infested area, goes around the Deathclaw-infested area, behind it, heading towards Red Rock Canyon. And again, they do find some stuff, and they do discover the cons, or at least the smoke trails from their burning fires. The second group, led by, of course, Scarlet, who I will not try to pronounce her Sioux name. Oh yeah, the Pathfinder 1 is Navajo, Pathfinder 2 is Sioux, and not Mary Sioux, actual like Sioux Indians, and the third one I think is Apache. I'm not sure which Native American group that one is. I'll keep you updated when the next video comes out on Gate Wasteland. But Scarlet's group actually comes across Nobark, and immediately there's a joke in there that goes like, "White men have too much sun," which is commented by one of Scarlet's fellow Native American Pathfinders. But they do come across, of course, a traitor who actually does say the one thing, and say it with me, ladies and gentlemen, after it's said. So were dinosaurs a pre-war thing or a pre-war thing? Say it with me, ladies and gentlemen, in 3, 2, 1. Shut up, Hope! But no, that's actually what's going on. But the other thing is that in the DC area, which, yes, this is kind of a cool little test bed the author's doing, is he's combining both things. First section, in both sections, basically. One section's we're looking at the Mojave exploration operations. Next one, we're looking at DC. But before we leave the Mojave, of course, Caesar's Legion, knowing the U.S. military having a lot more power, a lot more fire, a lot more skill, and a lot of more... is immediately pulling a Stalin thing.
I don't like where this is going.
Yeah, he's pulling a Stalin thing where literally everything you see is a goddamn lie. He's pulling a North Korea thing where everything you see is a lie.
Fool me once, I'm mad. Fool me twice, how could you? Fool me 3 times, you're officially that guy. Okay, you know the one. You go to the bar, he's like, this suit is officially is a Giorgio Armani. Ask my dad knows him. Fuck you! I ain't having that shit!
Is fabricated. Slaves? We have no slaves. They are just protected back in the homeland.
Bullshit!
See, this little town is full of our happy citizens. Nothing to see here.
Bullshit! Bullshit!
Again, he's basically pulling a frickin' Stalin thing. He's pulling a Soviet Union thing when it was under Stalin. He's pulling a North Korean thing under Kim Jong-un. Oh, dear. Or Kim Jong-il. Either one. It's like... Oh, God. We sure they're Caesar's Legion and not communist? Just saying. Either way, though. One of the other things, though, is that in the DC area, before the latest chapter ended, they're clearing roads and actually helping people out. The U.S. military is offering jobs for the denizens of the DC waste, offering them warm food, warm beds, a place they're safe, and all they ask in return is pick up a shovel, start digging, start helping move rubble. But, of course, an engineer learning from a Brotherhood checkpoint that the cars that are up here still have active freaking cores in them and are kind of mobile nuclear IEDs. So immediately starts going on a full broadband frequency, in CBRN threat, kind of need EOD up here in full mop gear to kind of clear out the threats. And, of course, some of the ghouls from Canterbury Commons are coming in because some of these ghouls apparently are ex-construction workers. One of them being an old mechanic who actually is like, oh yeah, Smooth Skin, I can actually help you out here. I used to work on cars back before the war, so let me go ahead and go get the core out for you. Goes over there, actually gets the core out, comes back and goes like, here you go, Smooth Skin, 1 fusion core. Hey, there ain't no damage to the outside of the canister. It's good and safe to handle. And the EOD, Jesus Christ, freaking pale as a ghost, being handed essentially a handheld dirty bomb. And just puts it inside of a lead case. Lead line case. And just like, oh my goodness. How this goes forward and what comical effects and events this has, completely up to the author. And yours truly, actually. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The author and I, as well as another guy who are huge Fallout fans, are actually helping the author out, actually add more meat to these chapters. Because the last video I did on the Gate Wasteland, every single Gate Wasteland video I ever did, I always said these things are basically bite-sized appetizers. We need a full meal, a full entree. And thanks to yours truly now, that should be happening. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, I have attached myself, along with a friend of mine, to this project to actually make this into a full-length chapters instead of the bite-sized appetizers. And, again, this should work out pretty well. So, yeah, if you want to read this story yourself and see the chapter where yours truly and another guy has actually helped out, link down below is the Wattpad link to Gate Wastelands. And show the author some love. Seriously, this guy actually does do really good stuff. His Star Wars storyteller reaction story is another one. But, ladies and gentlemen, there's still more to come for America Month, and you can bet your top dollar I'm going to be covering another American tale. Or at least one that talks about freedom. Till next time, ladies and gentlemen.